Oftentimes, when people don't see bruises on your body, or see you with black eyes, or maybe swollen face, or even broken leg, they'll be like, you're fine, you're good to go. Just go back and be patient. People are always in denial of the existence of emotional or psychological abuse or any other type of abuse or violence. And we have to understand that abuse comes in different forms. It can be manipulation, it can be narcissistic behavior from people or those people who are willing to feed their insecurities. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you all to the show Deen and Dunya. My name is Rahma Mustafa Goni, and I have with me in the studio our special guest, Mrs. Aishat Adabiruku. She is the founder of Master Coach Coaching and Mentoring Hub. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And then I have with me my co-host, Abdul Rashid Abdul Fatah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So today we have for you an interesting topic because we'd like to be bringing issues that people are not comfortable talking about them. Maybe because they're shy or they feel it's a taboo to talk about them. So we'd like to bring these issues onto the table and try to address them. Our today's topic is domestic violence. So oftentimes we know that, well, men also go through violence, but the majority of people who are victims of violence are women. You'll hear people saying, okay, for you to be a good woman, you'll have to endure and suffer in silence. They equate goodness to suffering. And whenever you feel like, okay, I'm not taking this anymore, they'll be like, okay, now she's a bad woman or she's bad, so we didn't know about that. So I don't know how people are relating goodness to these kind of things while they would want to just leave you in there to suffer.
Okay. From my own experience, offering family therapy to a number of women, some of the challenges women face in the society is we live in a patriarchal society.
Sure.
And not only do we live in a patriarchal society, there are established norms. In neuro-linguistic programming, we look at upbringing, significant emotional experiences, environment, and education as what drives people's beliefs and values. And for us here, especially in Nigeria, we have the culture of promoting stay in marriage at any cost. And because of this, it can condition women to, have that patience in quote that you mentioned with regards to when they face violence from their husbands in the home. And this has far-reaching consequences.
Sure. And there is this thing of even when a man is going to pick a wife, they'll be like, okay, she should be docile, she should be just quiet, and they'll be like, it's not your authority to talk to him or to maybe confront him about some things, or maybe if he's an abuser, they will be like, you're always the trigger, it's your fault, so why did you talk to him that way? And then he beats you up. And because there is an example of this woman that she married this man, but he actually left his first wife, and maybe they did not even investigate to know what was the cause of the divorce. And then she married him. Later on, he started battering her, and she stayed in the marriage for like 13 or 14 years. And when she was about to leave to say, no, I'm not taking this anymore, he took the custody of the children, and she couldn't even have access to them. So some of them remain in such situations because maybe they're being threatened or they will lose everything. So why it's just confusing to know that people still stay there, without seeking help.
Okay. So if we look at, Islam and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as our role model, we would know that our mothers were very engaging with him. And none of them was docile.
Exactly.
He used to seek their advice. One of our mothers played a critical role in the Treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah. Our mother Aisha, she was an intellectual. The Prophet ﷺ said you can even learn half of your knowledge from her. So this is not Islam.
It's kind of religious manipulation.
It's largely cultural. It's not Islam.
I think they're looking at it as a form of employer-employee status instead of like a partnership.
Even a slavery
Even
kind of a thing.
Exactly. It's not really, when you think about it, it's like you begin to wonder how some people think this way. And I think it all, like what you said earlier, it all goes back down to their upbringing and
Yes.
how they were brought up. Because it's a vicious circle. You see the children that watch their parents, and maybe the father being violent towards the mother, how when they grow up they imitate that behavior, and I think it just goes on and on and on. So you keep thinking, okay, what can you do to now break that circle? What can you do to change things, to make things different on a large scale?
Like you said, it's modeling. Children copy. You know, like Tarzan, when he grew up with the animals, he learned
Exactly.
to jump from tree to tree and eat raw,
Fruits.
leaves and what have you. So, if we want to change this trajectory, we have to sensitize the youth, and we have to continue the sensitization and do hands-on intervention to enable this change. And anyone can break this chain. You can be young, you can be old, but you can break chains. We need to be practical. It's not by only having conversations. Having conversation is a starter. It opens up people's minds to see that, oh, this is actually a dysfunction. It's not supposed to be the norm. If we have decided to mix culture with Islam, when Islam in the Quran, we've been told that we're all equal. The husband has a degree above the wife to the extent that he maintains her.
Some people would say one of the best marriages they've seen is that of their parents. So they expect their wife to be exactly like their mother, or they would like to just emulate whatever their parents did. But for me, I believe that you are different from your parents. Everybody is different. I think people should do what works for them. There are some certain principles that are there that you can take and learn from it, but I think you shouldn't just do exactly, just like how our boys are raised or our men are raised. They'll be like, okay, their mom does everything for them. They don't have sense of responsibility, sense of respect for women or for people. And then they expect the wife to do the same thing. So what can you say about that?
So, for me, I've been doing this work for years. What has been my experience? What have I seen? What I've seen are a situation where we repeat what has gone by. And we're people of knowledge as Muslims. And as people of knowledge, we should seek the right form of education for any venture we want to venture into, which includes marriage. So premarital counseling, as far as I'm concerned, should be mandatory in all mosques in Nigeria. Any mosque that wants to consummate a nikah should ask the couple for a certificate that they've gone through premarital counseling. So, beyond premarital counseling, people should be mandated to go through a parenting course.
Exactly.
And we offer all of this as matter.
But people nowadays think that, okay, if they're of age and they're about to get married, they're automatically qualified.
There is no automatic
qualification.
What you have seen, the fact is this: your wife or the wife-to-be is coming from a different home, the husband is coming from a different home, and there will be clashes if they don't understand what they're supposed to learn for marriage, instead of just bringing what they had from their own upbringing to the current, a new home that they're starting. Some of the values, are good, but some are not based on the right principles of Islam or even right thinking individuals, because some of this dysfunction gets passed from one generation to another. And from psychological research, by the 7th generation, the dysfunction is amplified, which is why we all need to work on ourselves pre-marriage. In the last couple of years, about 3 years, I have done up to like 300 premarital counseling counseling sessions.
People get married a lot.
No, people are getting familiar with the counseling. It's a good thing.
People. So sometimes I tell couples that when you're talking to your spouse, check that the father is not sitting on the right shoulder and the mother is not sitting on the
left
left shoulder.
That's true, but I heard somebody saying they know their rights, and if anything like violence happens, they're just going to walk away.
I think
and
that's,
people are saying,
that's like from the youths of today that are, much more, we are getting this sensitization. So, and I think most of the time we focus on the youth or the young couples, or so I keep wondering, is it that there is no hope for the older couples, that even though at that age there is still this tension between husband and wife, that it has been going on for years and years, and I don't want to call it old school, but the idea that like what you said, you just have to stay in the marriage no matter what. Mind you, some men also get abused, let's not forget that, but just to
I love you representing your gender.
give us
but
percentage.
just to yeah, basically it's just is it that there is no hope for the older generations, and what can we, the youth, also do to step in? Because I've spoken to some children, some of my peers, that are like, they see these things happening between their parents, but they can't really step in to do anything. Sometimes it might be because of shyness, or they themselves are even afraid of either the mother's wrath or the father's wrath. I'm keeping it balanced. So either wrath of, or the wrath of either one of them. So I don't really know, what can we, do to either sensitize them or to help the youths to now attack it on a personal level in every home. The home is the smallest unit of the society, and any change that is made in the home will reflect on the society.
Yes, beautiful. The home being the minute unit of any society shows us that whatever we're seeing on the outside came from one home. Now, what is the role of each individual in that home? The father, like the hadith of the Prophet, was shepherd. The father is the shepherd over the household. The mother is the household, is the shepherd of the father is a shepherd over the family. The mother is the shepherd over the household, and so on and so forth. So what can youths do? Youths can provide nasiha. And it is not their responsibility to right the wrongs, because you'll be putting too much pressure on a child to say the child should now mentor the adults to behave right. But what can the child do? The child can encourage the parents to go for counseling. I have had couples who have taken through counseling able to resolve their marital challenges. It takes time. Anything you want to achieve results. Look at a couple has been married for maybe 10, 20 years. They're used to a particular way of doing things. They now have a PhD, and they practice that PhD in that dysfunction. Now you are asking them to stop what they are doing. Miracles do happen,
but not all the time.
Now, sometimes we need to tie our camel. But actually, when Allah wanted Prophet, when he wanted to answer the dua of Prophet Noah, he asked him to go and build a boat. So sometimes we need, as couples, the couples need to build their boats and learn through that process of building their marital boat, how to be better married people and better parents, because otherwise they pass on the dysfunction. So a lot of time Prophet Noah went back to Allah. Allah said, go back. Allah, they've messed up the ship. Go back.
Go back and do it again.
So the thing is, we need to be able to commit to learning, unlearning, and relearning. And Ivan Toffler said something. He said the illiterate of the 21st century is not that person who can neither read nor write, but that person who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And this is what it takes for us sometimes to break dysfunction.
Wow. Dear viewers, this is still the show, Dean and Junior. I am enjoying myself. I hope you are enjoying too. But we'll now take a break and we'll come back soon, inshallah.